Hey, good day, everybody. My name is Derek Packard, and we're here today with two principals from TekMyBiz, and we're going to talk about cloud workstations. With us is Mike Molsen and Adam Johnson. How you guys doing today?
Great. It's glad to be here.
Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right, so let's start out with you guys just telling folks a little bit about TekMyBiz before we get into our cloud workstation topics here.
Okay, so TekMyBiz is a technology solutions company. We're specializing in cloud workspace solutions. We have two locations. I am talking to you from Colorado, and Adam is talking to you from Illinois. But we have offices in both locations, and we've been in business since 1993.
We each have a group of clients, and we share resources in managing them. And it's been a great working relationship for 20 years.
So our topic today is really the benefits of a cloud workspace solution. And from that standpoint, what are some of the things that clients need to be aware of?
Yeah, so with cloud workspace, what people need to know is it used to be when you talk about cloud workspace, people would say, oh, it's not secure. But the exact opposite is true. Cloud workspace is more secure. A cloud workspace is what traditionally you would think of when you open up your laptop or you go to work and you sit in front of your PC, you see your desktop. So people understand that term, desktop. But a cloud workspace is really your desktop in the cloud. And but it's much more secure. In the traditional setting, you would have a server and a network of 40 computers in the office there. And if the power goes out to your office building, then your server and all your PCs go down. That doesn't happen with the cloud workspace. And the reason it doesn't is because all of your computing power is in a Microsoft Tier 4 data center. Microsoft Tier 4 data centers have redundant power. They have redundant servers. They back up your data redundantly. They take images of your workspaces. So it's all this redundancy that you get from a Microsoft Tier 4 data center that you're not going to get on your own. And if you were to build your own, you can imagine that you'd spend millions of dollars just trying to replicate servers and power and all of that. And so there's a lot of benefits to having a Tier 4 data center. Adam, do you want to talk about the backup and disaster?
One of the benefits is really backup and disaster recovery. Having your server in Microsoft's data center really allows for quick recovery of your data. We can back up the servers as images and restore them within an hour. If you were to have an infection or your data was to be damaged, we would be able to recover it seamlessly and efficiently. In a traditional environment, often recovery from data loss takes a lot of time. But because in the data center, you can move data so quickly, we can recover your data very, very effectively.
Yeah, and so just to give some color to that, we've had clients who they know they have to take their data off-site. So they'll copy it to a USB drive, and then when they leave, they put it in the trunk of their car, and it gets rattled around back there. I mean, literally, I know clients who did that, and then their USB drive would stop working because it gets rattled around. The next best solution would be copy your data out to a cloud server so that your data is off-site and not right on-site with you. So that's the next best solution. But the ultimate solution is actually to work with your data in the cloud on the server that Microsoft is providing you this great redundancy for. So disaster recovery is really part and parcel of the cloud workspace, and you get that included. The other thing, and so part of that is protection from these CryptoLocker ransomware viruses. Your data is protected in the cloud, and a lot of times it won't even be reached there, but let's say that it happens that your desktop gets encrypted. We could restore your desktop within an hour. Part of our service that we provide that I think is a little bit unique to others is that we monitor each of the workstations, and we'll know there's a NOC, a Network Operations Center, that monitors your workstations, and it then tells us, it calls us and say, hey, ABC client is being infected with the encryptovirus. We've shut that workstation down. And then, we call and we tell you, hey, shut all your workstations down. And the ones that are infected, we're going to recreate those. And in an hour, you'll be back to your best known state. So if you were working great yesterday and, today you get the encrypto virus, we delete that image and we restore from yesterday. So a story that I like to tell about this just happened a few weeks back about an architect in Colorado, and he called us and said that he had been hit with the encrypto virus. We'd been working with this client. We had been trying to get him to the cloud, but he was a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy, and he's like, no, I'm going to do all the data myself. You just do the phone system. So we put a voice over IP phone system in, and he called us to tell us that all his data had been encrypted. And the reality is that the CryptoLocker viruses nowadays are so much more sophisticated than they were years ago, where the first thing the crypto virus looks for is your backups. And it encrypted all of his backups. He had them on a NAS drive, and all of that got encrypted. All of his workstations got encrypted. And so I felt sorry for the guy, but there was a way to prevent that, and that's by putting all your data in the cloud. It's a much safer place for your data to be. So that's the top benefit really is that it's a more secure environment. And then the next benefit that Adam's going to talk about is working from anywhere.
Well, just want to explain one more thing about the reason why your data is more secure, the backups are more secure. In the cloud, the backups are separated from the work environment, from the servers. So an infection has no access, there is no connection to where the backups are stored. It's a completely isolated environment. And so no matter what the CryptoLocker virus might do to your environment, you always have the assurance of having your backups in essentially, conceptually, it's a separate location. And so it's a huge advantage when you might be in a situation where you've been infected.
Yeah, as they used to say in Princess Bride, it's inconceivable that your backup would be accessed through the crypto virus because it's just in a separate place. Inconceivable.
So the biggest obvious benefit is that you can work from anywhere, and you work on the same desktop no matter where you are. If you're at the office, if you're at home, if you're traveling, you have a seamless experience. In a traditional environment, you might have a desktop in your office, a desktop at home, and maybe you carry a laptop, and so you end up with these 3 desktops, and you have random information on each one. They're configured in certain different ways. But with the Cloud Workspace, you have one destination, one desktop that you work from. So it actually creates a much more productive environment. So Mike, I don't know, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, so we've had several clients who just tell us they're much happier working from home. I think one of the stories we have is that there was a development company in Illinois. The guy does types of construction development, and they were very reluctant to go with the Cloud Workspace because they just hadn't experienced it really. But now that they've experienced it, this owner has actually changed his work habits. He gets up early, he works in the morning until noon, and then he comes into the office. And he feels great freedom in that. And his staff has done the same thing. So the mood at the office there is much greater because people are able to work when they want, and they can just be more productive.
Another advantage of it for a business owner is it's scalable. So often companies have seasonal people that they might hire, or interns that they bring on, or other scenarios where they need to ramp up their workforce and then shrink it on some sort of cycle. And it's really very effective for that, very cost effective actually. It's easy to add a user and remove them and manage costs doing that.
And one of the ways they do that is through what's called BYOD. You bring your own device. So if you have seasonal workers and they have laptops, they can bring them. The concern used to be, well, if they're using their laptop, they're going to copy their data down, and my data is going to be on their computer, or I have to provide a computer for them. But you really don't have to, because if they just bring their own computer, you could put the Cloud Workspace access on it, and it just becomes then a device that they get out to the cloud from. We'll talk about this a little later about costs, but you don't have to have super powered computers to run the Cloud Workspace. You're literally just using your keystrokes and your mouse to control your workspace in the cloud. So you don't have to have high-end computers. And in fact, there's devices that you can get that run a Windows 10 Pro operating system, for under $400, $500. And before you'd be spending $1,100, $1,200 on a computer. So your costs once. And so what some of our clients do actually is they just keep one of those devices on their shelf. So if something happens, to their computer, their laptop they're working on, they just put that aside and bring the new device and put it on. But I think Adam's got a couple of good stories from clients that talk about working from anywhere.
So one of our clients that really has benefited from is a transportation company. They do dispatching and busing for local school districts, and they rely heavily on uptime. They need to have their software accessible to them 100% of the time, and this was a way to provide that for them. When your servers are running on Azure and Microsoft's data centers, we can guarantee almost 100% uptime, really probably 99% uptime. So it was it provided a lot of security for the owner, because really, if they can't dispatch, their contracts are at risk. And so he's been really, really pleased with the service. Another client of ours is they're a senior housing developer, and they manage 6 different locations. And with having their server in the cloud and using the Cloud Workspace, it allowed them to function as a single organization seamlessly, no matter where they were. And previously in their old environment, they used software over a VPN, and there was a lot of lag. It was very slow for them to work on. Having their software in the Cloud Workspace really has provided them with a great deal of performance improvement and productivity.
Yeah, so the next point we want to make is that your data is actually protected. Several of our clients have concerns about proprietary data, and they want to know, how can I keep my data? And so with the Cloud Workspace, we could actually turn off people's access to your data. We shut down the USB drives so that you can't copy data from the cloud to your USB drive or to your laptop or whatever you're using to access that Cloud Workspace. We shut off all those devices. And so then the owner knows this proprietary data is going to stay my data. The other thing that we do is if a client has a staff member that gets terminated, all they have to do is call us and say, hey, turn off their Cloud Workspace. And from that moment on, they have no access to your Cloud Workspace. It used to be the people that have laptops and that all the data would all be on there, and then there'd be this whole legal battle about how we get the laptop back, and how was the data transferred or not. So with the Cloud Workspace, you don't have that. And the same issue with stolen laptops. You're in the airport, you lose your laptop, all your data's on there. Now, all you have to do is replace the laptop and get a different device. All your data's up in the cloud and it's secure. So, am I missing something there, Adam?
So yeah, you've covered it really, but I just like to call it like a sandbox that basically isolates all of your data into this Cloud Workspace. And so no matter what device you connect from, that data remains there. When an owner terminates the employee, they have complete separation from the data. There's no way for that employee to have moved data to their own laptop or stored in another location. And like Mike said, any USB drives or flash drives they're unable to copy to it. So it really is a good way to protect the integrity of the data for the business owner.
Yeah, and so a lot of our clients have great comfort in that. The next point we want to talk about, Adam's going to take, and that's standardized work environment.
In a traditional environment where users have their own individual desktop, often you get variances in versions of the software. People are using 3 different versions of Office and, a couple of versions of Adobe Acrobat and various versions of whatever other tools they might use. And in the cloud work environment, they all use the exact same version of the software. There is no variance. Anytime it's updated for everyone. If you use the example of Acrobat, different versions of Acrobat have different features. In newer versions, they've added features and modified the way that they work. And so if an organization has 3 or 4 different versions of Acrobat and the users are communicating with each other and modifying documents, certain features might be missing, and it creates a productivity problem where they might have to have somebody who has the newer version modify a document and then send it back to them. In the cloud, it's the same version of Adobe that they use. It's a great improvement. It's also great for inventory management. You know exactly what you own and what you're using. The business owner can be provided with that information very easily and quickly. And it's also easier for the IT staff, us, to manage.
And I think the standardized piece of this is, what we're saying is that the software that you're using across the board is all the same. And so there's a benefit to have shared knowledge. Hey, you know this about PowerPoint. Can you share with me how to change this thing in PowerPoint? Well, oh, I'm sorry, you're on 2013 and I'm on 2019. So all that goes away. The knowledge that you have can be shared across the board, and it's all going to be the same. And I think another aspect of this, and we probably already touched on it, but just the standardized experience for each user. If you're working at home and you change things, whatever you change on your desktop is going to be the same when you get to the office or while you're traveling at the airport or whatever. So literally, it just standardizes the experience across the board for everybody, and it makes the working environment better. I think the last point that we want to talk about is the IT costs and how they are more predictable. So you can imagine in the old environment where you would have servers and laptops and all that, you would have to upgrade your servers, and it would be a huge capital expenditure, $15,000, $20,000, and then your laptops and all that every year or every 3 to 5 years have to get upgraded. But that changes when you go to the cloud, because really then you're just having, from a capital expense, you're moving it to an operating expense, and you're paying a monthly fee to have the cloud experience. All of the services that come along with that, all of TekMyBiz support come with the monthly service fee. And so it's fixed, and the owners of the business know, all right, this is what I'm paying for IT this year, because it's a monthly fee. And then the other thing is that we really find that the cost of owning technology goes down because you reduce the downtime. So in the case of the transportation company that we talked about before, he's got a competitor in that same area, and that competitor was down and actually lost some contracts because they weren't up all the time. And so our guy had the advantage over that. But the loss of business is part of the cost that people usually don't think of when they're talking about what's their monthly nut or what are they monthly cost.
Just in a broad way, it creates predictability for the business owner. They know exactly what their cost is, and they also know if sometimes they've added users that maybe they need to reduce their costs, and the user doesn't use the system that much. They can share an account, or they have a way to manage that cost and know what it's going to be. In a traditional environment, there's something that's always there to break or malfunction or maintain, and it takes all of that surprise away from the business owner.
Right. So we say never buy an on-site server again. You're going to have to buy these devices that will power your cloud workspace, but you should not be buying on-site servers. That's just it's not as secure, and it's just not as productive. But you will have to buy devices and upgrade those. So
companies that have heard you guys talk, you obviously have a ton of experience with this kind of thing, and build up this reservoir of knowledge about the ins and outs. I mean, I even learned a bunch of details of things as a company owner, a business owner. Those are things that could be plaguing me on a monthly basis, like the difference in versions on certain people's laptops, stuff like that. And you're saying this Cloud Workspace solution wipes all that out, or levels the playing field, so to speak. But I mean, more particularly, if someone wants to get going or explore this further, how can you guys step them through the process? I mean, what's the advantage really of working with you guys versus other IT companies?
Yeah, so I think step one would be to watch this video, because we just laid out a lot of great information about why Cloud Workspace is a benefit. But why TekMyBiz? I mean, we've been in business since 1993. Adam and I have had a great working relationship. We have great staff in both locations. Our clients like us. One of the things we hear continually is that we're very responsive to them. People know when they call us that we're going to respond to them as soon as possible. And so when other IT firms come in and say, you know, would you like us, you know, to do your IT? They're like, no, we're very happy, you know, with TekMyBiz, because they're very responsive. And then on the other side of the coin, we've gone and we've won business from other IT firms because they just are not that responsive. And I just don't get that, because I think both Adam and I are very service oriented. We continually ask ourselves and each other, is so-and-so happy? You know, did we meet their needs? Are they happy? And so we find that really works. Clients like us to be responsive, and they want to make sure that they're happy. Adam, do you want to talk about data and just the trust level that we have?
Well, I guess I feel like what we really bring to the table, you know, as a business owner, you are trusting that these people are knowledgeable technically, but really you're also want to be able to lean on their integrity. You're entrusting them with all kinds of sensitive information. Basically, the IT company has access to everything that you have in your business from an information perspective, and so we really just pride ourselves on being very ethical, I would say. And really, I think the first step to working with us would be just to contact us. We can walk you through the process of, you know, describing in further detail what this looks like, evaluating your own environment, and kind of showing you what it might look like for you to move to the cloud.
One of the other things I want to highlight is that we actually have experience with the cloud. And, you know, we've been talking to different industry leaders, and they say, you know, within a couple of years, Microsoft is going to just force everybody to move to a cloud workspace because it's that much more secure and it's that much more productive. But we're already on it, and we're moving people that way. And Microsoft can't force people in the sense that, you know, it's they can, though, through the things they do. You know, they force you to upgrade, and they make it difficult to use their old products. And so, but to get on top of the cloud workspace now is, I mean, we have the experience, we have the technical know-how, and I think the other thing is that people like us. You know, we're geeks to one degree, in that we understand the technology, but we also understand business, and we understand people. And we know that people, when I've heard technicians explain things to business owners that I understand because I'm a technology guy, but I know they have no idea. So Adam and I try and talk in terms of everyday terms, so that we can help you understand what we're doing and why, you know, the solution that we're asking you to invest in is a good solution. But the phone number is 888-970-7835, and I believe it's on the screen, 888-970-7835.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.